hopefully soon. Hopefully in the next month or so, we'll be up and running with new product and the whole lot. So yeah, very excited for that. And yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Okay, cool. So look, it looks like it's just me and you today, brother. Anyways, what can you do? So look, I think I actually did a Q&A, so we can maybe just run through some questions, and we don't have to be on too long, but it's perfect because some of the questions that came in from the last podcast kind of leads into the whole coaching situation. So I selected a few good ones. So, okay, here we go. Okay, I won't name names, but okay, the first question would be, okay, so opinion on people who give out wrong advice about juice and end up messing you up for life. Sure. What a fucking question. You know what I mean? That's
Well, it's a two-way street there, bro. That's a two-way street question there because I mean, you're asking someone who doesn't know anything about you for advice on your health. That's the thing. It's like you're going to someone you don't know, or even if you know the person, like how do you know if this person has a knowledgeable background on what they're talking about, and what information do they have of you? Do they have enough information on you to give you advice on your gear, on what supplementation to use? So it's like I say, it's a two-way street. You can't. That's like basically pointing the finger and saying, okay, well, that person definitely maybe gave you the advice, but didn't hold a gun to you and say you're gonna take this stuff. You understand what I'm saying? So
yeah,
that's a two-way street question there.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And also, you know, there's also the scary part about a question like that is that sometimes even guys that go to the doctor, they get the wrong, diagnosis or whatever you want to call it from the doctors because, first of all, they don't know what they're getting tested. They don't know what to look for. Because if a guy that's uneducated on the issue goes to the doctor and said, "I want to get my blood work done," what are they checking? You know, are they okay? They're doing, you know what I mean? Sometimes, okay, yeah, please, doctor, please, can I get my blood work done? Okay, cholesterol test and whatever, liver, it's like 3 or 4 things, and you go, okay, cool, everything's cool. It might not be, where a coach or someone that understands, gear and whatever will know exactly what to test for to see if there is an issue. So that's the other side of it. You can just you can do all you want and go to the doctor and say, listen, I need to get my blood work done. But how much of it is
For the purpose of
directly proportional to actually what you want to know,
That's where you have to like obviously I have to be honest with the doc and say, listen, I'm looking on going on a cycle here. Like I'm going to be using testosterone on be putting synthetic 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 testosterone in my body. I'm putting extra hormones in my body. What do we then? Obviously, a doctor should know like what to test for. Obviously, going through the endocrine system, doing a full blood count, and all that stuff. But like it's funny. Like some doctors, like especially GPs, like they don't really not clued up on it, or not. They don't have extensive knowledge on it, especially on the endocrine system. But which is actually mind blowing that they don't. But with most of it, if you go to any not just normal GP and you tell them, listen, I want to take this, they'll probably like have a full on like will give you like a full on lecture on it, instead of obviously just weighing out the pros and the cons. So like why are you using it, what's the goal, stuff like that. But also like if you're just a normal gym goer, like if you're not really competing or stuff, then just like it's pointless in going on this crazy cycle unless you really need TRT. But yeah, like I said, that question that you said is like it's a two-way thing. I mean, they say you can't just go to anybody and get advice and think it's the right advice. So it's like you need to be selective on who you're going to choose to ask for advice on the stuff. Because so like majority of the time, people are asking people in the gym, just your regular gym bro, like what to take and what taking, like what asking the information on gear. And obviously, most of the time, these gym bros are guys who sell gear and they will just say anything to make a buck, make some cash out of you. So
Yeah. Well, look, if you look at it that way, there's a lot of issues with it. You know what I mean? I mean, if you're going to go to some guy in the gym that you barely know, or there's just some big guy in the gym and you think he knows everything. Possibility that he doesn't know what he's talking about. It's funny because it's one of those things where if you look at a guy that's in good shape or he's huge and he's competing or whatever, it doesn't necessarily mean that he knows what he's talking about, I mean, because there's a lot of ways to get there, because he could be extremely unhealthy on the inside but look fantastic on the outside. So, I mean, but on the other side of it, it's I think, the best advice to give is probably just to say that you got if you are in that position, you probably should do your own homework and have a look at it yourself and do a deep dive into some research, because at the end of the day, yes, you should get a proper coach, someone that's like recommended by the industry and that that's done well for other people. That's the first thing. But if you're still unsure about that, if you're still unsure that they don't know all about your health, they don't understand everything, then you should do your own homework, proper homework, and have a look at it. And like you said, you got to be very honest with your doctor, not to say, oh yeah, I'm just taking a little bit of test, yeah, but you got to tell them exactly what the protocol is, what are you planning on using, and do the testing accordingly. Because it is like, I can imagine, for some guys, it's a little bit embarrassing to go to your doctor and say, listen, I'm on this, that, this, and just now it's like 6-7 compounds, and the doctor goes,
no,
like,
but then
what's going on with you? But you, like, if that is the case, if that is what your coach wants to put you on, my suggestion is be 100% honest with your doctor. But you see that, like you said, it's a bit of a weird thing, because how do you know that your GP is fully clued up on that part? It's like, I don't know. So it is a tough one. So I would say that the best thing is probably a bit of self-study, a little bit of deep dive into research yourself.
100%, bro. And when it comes to that, also you can also always get a second opinion and just go to someone. I mean, so 100% of the time, like as far as I know, like, if you go to a good coach, they'll have a doctor to recommend you to go to, and especially if they're going to put you on cycle. That's when you know, okay, this stuff, this guy is, let's say now we're going to go about things, when he's hooked up with a doctor who knows what they're doing, or he can recommend you, like, okay, go to this guy, he knows exactly what to test for, and then once the results come, we'll throw up the cycle. And it's also like, you feel like, okay, I'm not as far, not as far as I know, but it's what I do. So I'll also discuss with the doctor that I send my clients to. I'll discuss with them the blood work. We'll discuss that, and then we'll discuss what the cycle is that I'm planning on doing with the client. I'm not sure if anyone else. I'm sure there is coaches out there that do the same thing. That have obviously sources that they send their clients to, doctors and so on.
Yeah, I think I guess it becomes tough for someone that's online coaching, and that they have clients all over the country, and that you got to try to recommend different doctors where you are. But I guess as a coach, if you have a doctor that you really trust, it'd probably be a good idea to have him or her on speed dial. That when you do recommend something to a client that you get a little bit of your understanding, and then you consult the doctor, your own doctor, and say, listen, this was their blood work, and this is the the protocol I want to put them on. And if it's a-okay, then you go ahead, and if it's not, but it is a little bit of a tough one, especially for the online coaches and stuff. But then again, it's I know, I think we've spoke about it this in a few podcasts. I think it was probably like 4 or 5 back, but it's funny because you expect your doctor to know like everything about the body, but at the same time you think, yeah, they understand how the body works, but are they used to someone putting things into their body that are completely out of the norm? How does that affect the body? But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've got a GP that I trust with everything I have, like I trust him with everything that I've been through, and with clients and all that stuff. But so in that case, I'm lucky. I can kind of speak to him about anything I want to. So I guess it's your prerogative to go and find that doctor, because you're not going to find him first go. I mean, I've been through many doctors, and I've looked at a few doctors with even outside of gear, with other things, and I've looked at them and gone, bro, how is that your solution? Because a lot of doctors just say, okay, this is what your illness is. Okay, cool. Here's fucking all these antibiotics. Here's all this cortisone, all of that, and then you go for a second opinion, and they go, bro, this is all you needed. It's not even that serious. You didn't need to take all those antibiotics and cortisone and all the rest of it. And you sit there and you go, okay, so I've taken all this antibiotics and all this poisonous shit in my body, and I didn't need to. So yeah, it's your prerogative to go have a look and check it around.
Yeah. Cool. I think we.
Yeah. So I think we nailed that question, I hope. Okay, cool. Okay, so next one. Bit of a different question. I mean, look, it's all opinion based, but anyway, so opinions about the equipment in South Africa versus overseas gyms equipment and gym membership prices. Look, pricing, I'd have no clue.
Yeah, pricing.
Equipment wise, I think I can.
Yeah, pricing is something we can't really discuss, but we'll speak about. But when it comes in terms of equipment and stuff or so like that, well, it's no question that we are like at least 3 to 5 years behind the rest of the world. Especially in the first world countries. So obviously technology is different on that side of the world. They also have a lot more funding when it comes to like the fitness industry and stuff like that. The fitness industry is much bigger than South Africa's fitness industry. There's also a lot more people in the fitness industry, obviously, because it's bigger. So that's the reason why, like, I mean, let's like, I mean, we are progressing, we are moving, we are getting new stuff in. But obviously, like I said, the technology is what's keeping us behind. And what I think is just like the terms of the finances and financing of these machines. Remember these equipment that they have overseas is like it's not your sherbet box luxury packet that equipment gonna get out of a luxury packet. It's
Yeah.
What's the word I'm looking for? Oh, my words are just not coming out today. But yeah, like that's what it is.
Do you think? I'm trying to think now. Do you think that obviously like the updated equipment and the new modern equipment, whatever, can make some type of a difference for sure. But do you think it's that much of a big thing that affects the quality of bodybuilder that we produce in South Africa? Do you think that's such a big thing?
Well,
personally, I don't think it's that big of a thing.
I'll agree to disagree with that. As I say, we can break this down into segments. When it comes to terms of bodybuilding, remember, like the new machines is coming out now. Like, I mean, the people who's developing these machines. I was actually watching another podcast the other day. Which podcast was it? I can actually just remember. I can't remember who it was, but they were speaking about. They went into this this equipment manufacturer, and how they designed it. So it's not just everything's not just done on the computer. There's obviously this guy was designing machines. He was getting into the machine and obviously checking the biomechanics of how your body moves naturally. So that's the advantage of having those machines. Like, it's not just designing a machine. Okay, this angle, this angle, this angle. Remember, your body moves naturally in specific movements in a certain way. It's not just like a robot. Your body doesn't move like a robot. Like that's how your levers work. And because everyone's biomechanics is so different. So that's the advantage of having equipment like that. It's safer because the machines are moving according to how your body's supposed to move. It's not designed in a way that you have to like limit your biomechanics, especially like when it comes to taller people as well. I mean I think they always have a disadvantage, or not disadvantage, but they always have an issue when it comes to being taller and machines are small. I mean, you get into a machine and yeah. Another thing is safety.
Yeah.
Safety, like how so it doesn't you reduce the risk of getting injured, especially as a bodybuilder. It's safer for you. I mean, especially if you're pushing heavier weight instead of you like like for example on a squat. Now they have all these different types of squat machines that have safety, like a fail safe. So if you're about to fail, you can obviously just do something and the weight will stop. Or if you, like, for example, let's use this example, a chest press machine versus a barbell, where you're coming down with a barbell and that barbell, you get stuck on there's no way you're going to get out of it. I mean, there's no way you're going to be able to just release the weight and not and hurt yourself. Whereas if you're doing a chest press machine, it's the same like with dumbbells. If you feel like, okay, shit, I don't have control of this thing, you can just let it go. Or you can just slowly pull yourself out of safety. Whereas with a barbell, the barbell it's stuck on you and you can't get it up, it's stuck on you. Or something goes wrong, your body moves, or you pull a muscle. Because I think also that's what makes injuries a lot worse, is when you get stuck there with the weight. Because you're like, fuck, you need to be trying to get this thing off you, but you already like hurt yourself. So I think that's also what makes things harder for you. But when it comes to other types of training, like when it comes to powerlifting, CrossFit, I mean, the basics is all you need. I mean, all you need is really a couple of dumbbells and a barbell and some weight plates. That's all you really need. But when it comes to bodybuilding, it definitely makes a difference, especially in the terms of safety and being having less risk of injury. That's my opinion. When it comes to terms of the quality of the physiques, it's not an excuse. It's not an excuse that, oh, we don't have this machine, so that's why our physiques are not matched up. It's not an excuse. But in terms of like safety and stuff, yeah, that's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think, yeah, I also agree with you to certain points, with regards to, safety and stuff. I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me. The only reason why I really disagreed with it is because, we saw guys that were competing at the highest level of, Mr. Olympia and stuff with two completely different, training styles. One of them used pretty much all free weights, and then the other one, used pretty much just machines. And you look at that's the way I looked at it. And I said, yeah, for sure, maybe the one had better genetics, for 100%, and the one had less injuries. No, I'm just talking about in general. Like, you looked at guys like Johnny Jackson and Ronnie Coleman. Guys that use a lot of free weight and a lot of heavy weight and a lot of like crazy movements. And then you look at guys like Phil Heath and Dexter Jackson. It worked on it. They both worked, well, look, I was about to say, but one got injured, but the other one didn't. Not really. But that's a different story. It probably comes down to the genetics. But yeah, I mean, look, I think it definitely can make a difference. Can make a big difference. But is it the be all and end all? I don't think so.
No, that's what I say. I'll agree to disagree. And you must remember also, like Ronnie Coleman and Phil Heath is two different eras. It's two different eras that we're coming from. That people are coming from. But like I say, it's just. I mean, I think it's like a smarter. What with these new machines, it's a smarter way of training. Like I say, the main thing is the safety thing. It's not designed because it's going to make your physique better. It's going to make your physique. It's not going to give you a different result from using free weights. You understand? So like the dumbbells and stuff like that. It's not going to make a difference. It shouldn't make a crazy difference. But yeah, like I say, I agree to disagree on that one.
But do you think so? Okay, I get what you're saying, but what do you mean by different eras? Because in my mind, it goes like, that doesn't, because if Ronnie could get there this way and Phil could get there another way, are you talking about maybe from like a gear perspective and a understanding of bodybuilding perspective, or?
No, I'm talking about eras, like the years, like Ronnie Coleman was what in the 90s, and
Yeah.
Phil Heath was in the late 2000s. I mean, that's what I mean. Two different eras. Like technology was different then. You understand? Like they come from two different eras. Like I'm sure if Ronnie Coleman had those machines that Phil Heath done, he would have also made look just as good as he did. But I'm sure he would have opted to train safe. I'm not saying he wouldn't have freaking deadlifted all that weight or squatted all that weight. I'm just saying some of the stuff would have maybe been done in a smarter approach, so like if they had the knowledge that the guys had in Phil's era, okay, this is a smarter way. It's going to be reduce the risk of getting injured. I'm sure you'd have used a couple of more machines.
Yeah.
Not to say that Ronnie didn't use machines at all. Remember, there was machines that they used.
No, yeah, of course not.
Some of that old school machines look evil, bro. Like I mean, there was this. I was watching the one Ronnie Coleman video. It was like a shoulder press, but his palms were facing towards the outside, and he was sitting in this thing and he's pressing. I was like, oh, that looks intense. I go, like, there's a couple of machines that if you go watch all the Ronnie Coleman's videos, like, yo, these machines look hardcore. Like these things look like some medieval death trap thing. Some of those machines are like, like hurt your body.
Oh yeah, no, for sure, for sure. The only thing is, do you think that? Here's another question. Do you think that someone like Ronnie Coleman, or whoever back in the day, would have been a better bodybuilder had his career been 10 years later?
Yeah, that's a tough question. You're making me like have to think now. Like, where would his physique be if it was 10 years later? I mean, I think you'd be pretty much.
I mean, I just wonder because
I think he pretty much hit his full potential.
Sorry?
I think he pretty much hit his full potential. To be honest, I mean, I don't think he would have been better. Maybe he would have been maybe 5% better, maybe. And maybe if his career was a little bit later, maybe you would have a little more longevity. Maybe you would have a slightly longer career. Maybe you would have been the first to be to get to 10 titles. Has there been someone that got to 10 titles? No. The most is
Except for
9.
the only person that's got 10 Olympias is the female, RS Carl. But
So-
besides, in the male divisions, no.
So maybe it's just the longevity thing would have been maybe a bit different if his career was later. In my opinion, I think he'd have still reached the level he did that he got to. I think, like I said, maybe 5-10% a bit better, and then maybe just slightly longer.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big possibility he wouldn't have the issues he has now, with his back and stuff.
Yeah.
You never know, I guess. Okay, what was the next one? Okay, this was a GHI question. Any new items for the winter? Okay, so anyways, let me just cover this so everyone that watches this can understand what's happening. So things have obviously changed completely now. We're starting to move our manufacturing from Pretoria to Cape Town. Look, few reasons. I don't have to get into it really, but yeah. So the reason why the process has taken longer is because change of manufacturers. It's a whole thing. You think it's a simple thing, but it's really not. It's almost like changing your business. So I would say in the next 4 to 5 weeks we'll be up and running and sorted with manufacturers this side, and then we're in the money. But yeah, look, it's that's business for you. You get people that promise you the world and deliver nothing, and you get people that don't promise you much and deliver more, and you get people that are equal on both sides. And look, I'd way rather get people that what's the saying? They will under promise, over deliver. That's the saying. I'd way rather have that, and it's tough, especially when you're working with outside companies, when they promise you something and then you start promising your clientele. It all starts snowballing because it starts at the beginning. So yeah, I mean, look, that's obviously I have to answer that question, but I mean, yeah. So hopefully in the next month or so, we'll be up and running with new product and the whole lot. So yeah, very excited for that, and yeah. But yeah, anyways, that's all the questions and stuff. But so tell me, what's the weight looking like at the moment?
At the moment, the weight's sitting about 89, somewhere between 89 and 90. Like majority of this week it's been at 89, so let's probably take that as what the middle weight of it. So like, I mean, most mornings it's been 89. Like, it was one morning woke up like 90.5, something like that did. But yeah, like I said, everything's tightening up nicely. Things are ticking over, so I'm happy with the way things are going.
What's your? I know you spoke about it in the gym, but just so everyone knows, what's your goal weight for stage time?
Look, I don't really have a goal weight. It's obviously a look that we're chasing. It's very difficult to gauge on what I'll come in at because of it's something that's now looking to bring something that's a little bit different compared to the last time. I also haven't been on stage for almost like a year and a half, so I had a very long off season. So the main thing is like what I'm not used to. As I said, for me, when I look at myself, it's like it could have been can be a bit tighter sitting at this point, but also don't want to be pushing it too hard out of the gate and then sacrificing the muscle we've put on in the off season. So obviously, just at the moment, just trust in the process. What I'm estimating, I'll probably looking at coming down another 8 kilos, because I've already come down 10 kilos since the start of prep. So probably looking to come down another 8. So looking at maybe the low 80s. So obviously fall in that light heavy class. Yeah, like I said, it's at this point. Also, like I haven't really tested my body fat, so I don't know. Obviously, just eyeballing it at the moment. So you're not really. Then obviously just watching the weight now. The weight's coming off at the moment now. Like it's been steady. About at like a kilo a week. So I think that's a good rate for weight to be dropping, especially on prep, especially in the beginning. Okay, in the beginning, we came out of the gates hard. Like that first 4 or 5 kilos came off very quickly. Because of all the water retention, stuff like that. But yeah, like I said, at the moment now it's very difficult to gauge. I mean, I'll be happy if I come in the low 80s, because that means then I've put on a significant amount of stage weight. Because if I remember correctly, I was on stage at mid 75s the last time I was on stage. 75 was between 75 and 78, if I'm not mistaken. So like a year and a half is actually a long time ago. So yeah, I'll be happy.
But I mean, if you for sure. I mean, if you've put on, let's say 5 kilos stage weight, that's a lot of muscle, especially on your frame. You know, if it's a taller guy, it's a little bit of a different story. It's still a massive amount of weight or muscle to put on. But in your case as well, it's like for your frame, your height, a 5 kilo difference stage weight is a big. It's pretty much a different human, you know.
Yeah, so that's just I'll be happy with that. I'll be happy when you say like at the moment now, not like gotten out of that thing of really stressing about weight and what the weight's doing. It's more about like what the visuals look like. Because I mean that's what bodybuilding is at the end of the day. You're not stepping on a scale there in front of the judges. Oh, this guy weighs this much. It's obviously an illusion of what you look like. I mean, no one's standing up there with the body fat calipers as well, measuring what your body fat is, and that's how they're judging. So just going on the visuals, and just using the rest of the stuff as data collection at the end of the day to make sure that everything is moving in the right direction. And yeah, also like I said, the main thing is like watching the visuals, taking the pictures, matching them up to make sure that my physique is moving in the right direction.
Yeah, for sure. And tell me, before we leave, what do you think? Look, it's a broad question. I mean, and it's a strange question, but what would you say for your clients at the time you are like you said you're 9 weeks out, correct?
8 weeks actually, yeah, 8 weeks yesterday.
What, like I said again, it's a broad question. What for your clients and for yourself, what would you say is a good fat percentage to be at that amount of time out?
You definitely want to be under 10, especially depends on what category you're in. Definitely want to be under 10. You don't want to leave a lot of work for the end. Like I love to use the aeroplane analogy. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. Like obviously when you take over, like that's how I see prep. It's like we about to take a flight now on a plane. And obviously we have a system or a plan of how we're going to get this fat loss journey off the ground. So that's obviously in the beginning. How does the plane take off? It obviously picks up a lot of speed and then takes off. So that's what happens. Like I said, like comparing it to my prep, like I said, we came hard out of the gates, making sure we get that water retention off as quick as possible. And then obviously once that water retention is away, we can start chipping away at glycogen, chipping away at the fat storage. So yeah, you want to come out of the gates hard, and then obviously once you're in the air, like I say, that's why I love using the plane analogy. We're going to cruise for a bit, but obviously make sure that we're moving in the right direction. That fat loss is steady. That we're not eating into the tissue that we've especially if we're coming off an off season. You're not eating into your muscle tissue. But the main things that's coming off will be stripping that fat off. It is a very difficult thing to manage, especially obviously you want to keep your muscle bellies full, but also at the same time you want to be stripping off fat, and you can't keep your muscle bellies that full because then all your muscle bellies is going to be full of glycogen, and that's what's going to be you're going to be eating away. You're not really going to be eating away at fat storage, more so as chipping away and burning off that glycogen. So yeah, it's like I said, like I would say definitely if you're like 8-9 weeks out,
for sure,
under that 10 mark. But yeah, but like I said, I don't know. So like what other approaches? Like I don't do it on myself. Like I haven't been doing it. I probably should. Is monitoring the body fat percentage obviously would give us the more data the better. At the end of the day, the more data your coach has, the better it is. Obviously, when it comes to tweaking and manipulating plans and stuff like that. But like I said, some people I know, like some coaches I know, don't even go in that direction. They'll just watch the weight. Especially like a lot of prep coaches. What I've heard from previous what I've heard from competitors and clients that's come over from previous coaches, like some coaches will change the diet every week. I'm like, oh, that's a lot of things. I mean, to change things. Because I mean, especially if things are moving in the right direction, why is things changing so much then? Because if something's working and something's is moving you in the right direction, why you want to fix something that's not broken? So yeah, like I said, the more information you can give the coaches, the better.
For sure, I think it's more of a you know. Yeah, it's like the coach it's probably just the coach just trying to make it look like he's doing more work for the money that's being paid. It's probably something along those lines. But yeah, I mean, look, and what is your what would you, sorry, I know I'm asking another one, but the thing is, what is your marker? Would you say that you want to be completely on point 2 weeks out, 1 week out, 3 weeks out? How do you when do you say, okay, cool, done? Now we just kind of what's your goal? Is your goal to be okay, 2 weeks out, solid? Now we just kind of flow into the show.
Well, there's different strategies. It's like, are you asking for me personally, as how I would be it, or I would go as
yeah, for you personally, yeah.
as a coach, or me personally, as how or you're asking me how I would be for this prep?
For you personally, yeah.
For me personally, like, okay, the plan. I'm not 100% sure what the plan is now. The plan was to be ready at least at 4 or 5 weeks out, like be somewhat ready. That was the plan. Obviously, fell back a bit when I got sick. So we lost a week there. So like at the moment now, if the best thing to be if I could be ready at least 2 weeks out, and then obviously just do the final touch-ups. I mean, like I say, you don't really want to leave things for the end. I would think, like, sitting now where I am now, the goal should be obviously to be ready at 2 weeks out. 2 weeks out from the show, be ready, and then obviously just main thing is because obviously when your body fat is really, really low, then water is not really much of a factor, because obviously your body's pushing the excess water out, and obviously the rest of the water that's driving in your body is being sucked into your muscles. So it's not really sitting in a subcutaneous tissue or subcutaneous skin. It's not sitting there. It's because your body's in that state. It's pulling, especially when you're training and you're still doing the cardio. Your body's going to be flushing that out. It's going to be in that state.
Yeah.
So I would say like if I could be ready at least 2 weeks out, then this is the main thing is just obviously like saying then coming in smoothly, and then just like say the final touch ups in that last week and a half.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, I think that's probably a good marker, because if you solid 2 weeks out, then you go, okay, cool. Now now it's just to kind of flow into the show. It's a far better place to be in than being 4 days out and going, uh, I'm maybe not ready. Now I've got to take diuretics, and I've got to do all this water drop, fucking bro science shit, and then you end up on stage looking flat and watery at the same time. You know that look that a lot of guys get, but yeah, for sure, that's probably the best way to go about it.
Yeah, no, as I say,
Yeah,
like just to give a little bit of bonus, like everyone is different. It depends on like what the strategy is for the prep and what the prep look like, and also what who you working with. Have you been working with someone who's been with you for a while, who's you've done off season with? Then like strategies will be different. But yeah, like it shouldn't be like everything left that last week, especially to pull out things like diuretics and stuff like that. I mean that. I mean, there's a time and place for all that stuff. When it comes to, especially in the last week of manipulating water, stuff like this. There's many methods of way of manipulating water and how to drive the water out. So at the end of the day, that's what diuretics are there for, is to drive the water out of the sub-Q skin, but also that's diuretics doesn't just target the sub-Q skin. It's gonna take all the water out of your body. It's including the muscle, the water that's sitting in your muscle, and I mean that's the water you need, because otherwise, if there's no water in your muscle, it's not gonna look full. You're not gonna be able to get a pump. So it should be
yeah,
like, I think then that should be like a proper marker, like you said, 2 weeks out. That should be a marker for most people to be, especially if you want to have you want to you want to have a good showing. That the what like I said, it depends on what your strategy is for the whole prep. But that should be a good marker. So obviously, then just from there, just
yeah.
cruise into the show, and then
The thing
just
is as well,
2 weeks.
yeah, no, for sure, for sure. Yeah, but yeah, I guess like you said, everyone's different, and I mean, I'm sure you've also seen some guys that do a whole prep and they look very, very average, and it's like flipping 24 hours before the show, and all of a sudden they're like flipping on you, like, whoa, what happened? So yeah, you're right. There is definitely a personal factor that goes into it, where some guys are flipping 4 weeks out, they look like they should have stood on stage that day, and some guys that literally will only pull it together the last 2 days, even though they've been dieting and water manipulation, the whole story. So yeah, I mean, it is definitely dependent, but yeah, I mean, in my head, it's 2 weeks out is a great marker to know exactly where you are. But yeah, look, bro, all I have to say is I'm excited to see you compete. I'm very, very keen to see that. I'm definitely gonna be there.
Are you gonna be at both shows?
Where's the second show?
Well, the first show, like I don't know if I'm doing both shows yet. I haven't really confirmed that yet. Like the first the Muscle Malusha show is it's in Plattekloof at Corpus Christi. It's a church there. Yeah, that's like I don't know the times. I don't think they've released the times yet of the show. And then obviously Mickey's show is now in Sea Point. So
Yeah,
are you gonna with that, like obviously the NPC show is the main one I'm shooting for. Let's just check here.
yeah. I mean, look, yeah. I look at. I'm definitely going to be at the Cape Classic, but all depending on timing. It'd be nice to be at both. But let's see it. Obviously I'm going to be affiliated with the Cape Classic. But look, I mean, if you had to go compete there, I wouldn't be complaining. Let's just say that.
Well, there's no time here for the NPC show yet. I know Mickey said his show starts at 1. So there's no times yet to say what times the show is going to be running yet, stuff like that. So we'll have to see closer to the time, like to see how things are going to play out. Because like I mentioned before, I do have an athlete competing at the Cape Classic, so the possibility of me having to be there is high. Because I do have two other athletes competing at the Muscle Minutia show as well. So I've got AV. So he's doing classic, so it'll be shortly after bodybuilding. So it'll be shortly after I'm up, then he will probably be up. And then I've got a men's physique guy, men's physique is last. So it's going to be a bit of a tough thing for me to split myself on where I have to be. So it depends on how the times is, how the shows run, and stuff like that. So, but also because the thing is, the men's physique guy it's the first time he's with me. And same goes for the athletes competing in the Cape Classic. They're both the first times with me. One is done. The men's physique guy has done the show last year, so it's not like it's first time on stage. But the athlete is competing at the Cape Classic. It's her first time doing a show and first time competing, so she probably might need me more than the men's physique boy. But like I said, I'll have to see how I'm gonna actually play this thing out. Also how much I can handle, like stress wise. Remember, this is stress on me as well. Like I'm getting on stage that day, and I have 3 other athletes getting on that stage that same day. So it's just managing that. So if I'm gonna put myself in a position to step onto stage twice and manage 3 other athletes, then it's gonna be something to pull off.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe you'll just step in and do bikini. If it's early or if it's later on, maybe just do bikini. Then we'll see.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Okay, awesome. Well, bro, just let me know. I'm very keen to see it. But I mean, look, if I can be at both shows, I'll be at both shows. But I mean, if you can compete at one, you can compete at both. Whatever, as long as you're on point and your clients are sorted and you sorted, then whatever. But yeah. Anyways, I've kept you for longer than what I said. So
no problem, bro. No problem at all.
Okay, brother. Well, I'll check you maybe midweek or midweek maybe for a training session, or we'll wait till the next podcast. But I'll try make sure that all the boys are on for the next one.
But how was the shoulders feeling? How was that shoulder session?
Yeah, it was power. It was power. The rear delt's got a proper hiding, because that's my big problem is neglecting the rear delt.
Yeah, but it was nice and intense, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll definitely smash some more as we go along.
100%, bro. I gotta come smash some legs with you sometime. That's gonna be a killer.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. It's gonna be lots of fun.
Fun. Okay, brother. Cool. Sweet. Have a good evening.
Same to you. We'll chat. Safety.